Greetings, I'm Sami Laakso from Snowdale Design and I welcome you to the question and answer stream for the first expansion for Lands of Galzyr, Dreams and Mysteries. If you have any questions you wish to get answered, put them in the chat and I will get back to them at some point during the stream. There's already some great ones and I will start with some of those right away. Let's get to our first question, which is a very important one from Kesis. Welcome to the stream, Ville, Bartek, and Marsa. So this comes from Ville Kesänen. Which Galzyr adventure you'd like to spend an evening with the 5 available ones from the current ones? That's not an easy one. It's more is too social. Like I could not handle him. That's too much. Ausala might be a little distant, so I'm wandering between Boomir, Keridai. Maybe there would be some interesting talking points and stuff to discuss with Keridai, so or Noko and Umi, but Noko might try to steal my wallet while we're spending the time. So I'll say I go with Keridai for this answer. The next question comes from Bartek from the chat as well. How do I get new ideas for where different quests and events in the game? So all the stories in the game are done by many different people, so there's a wide variety of inspiration on how different people find inspiration for their own stories. So of course I can just answer based on how it works for me. So often I just get some random ideas based on what has happened to me in the past or what's happening right now, or sometimes from different books or series or movies, or it's just like some fun interaction, like, oh, this would make a funny little story. As simple as an example is that one time I was intentionally trying to come up with a story while I was in sauna, and I was just like, well, can we make a story about the animal folk going to sauna and what would that mean? So that's one of the little stories you can find in the base game, for example. So there's many different places where we can find inspiration. There's even some creative document or like written work that is meant to inspire you. So there's different ideas that you can use in your role-playing games, for example, and we are like, okay, this doesn't really make sense that you meet up with an angry fox whose mouth is frothing or something in Daimyria, like, but what if it would? What if it's, but instead of it being an animal, it's an animal folk, so they are smart and stuff. So that's some of the ways we find inspiration for our stories. Just before, let's add some of the Marsa's question to the, so I will remember to get back to it. And Ville is saying you got wrong title. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by wrong title. This is the question. Oh, in there it's peacemakers. Let's fix that in YouTube. Lands of Galzyr, Dreams and Mysteries, question and answer. There we go. Now if you refresh, it should be the correct one. Not the end of the world. All right, let's go for the next question. I think that answered previous one. This comes from Bartek from the chat also just before the stream started. Is there something you would like to change in the base game now with the knowledge of, well, being released it and working on the expansion? And we have been able to fix or update some of the smaller, like minute stuff in the storybook even after release, which is of course very nice to be able to do that, which you normally can't do with a physical board game. But as for some of the bigger stuff, like I'm really happy with the base game and how it turned out. Some of the things like that people have been asking more, we are now addressing with the expansion. So of course, with hindsight, maybe we should have put some of those in the base game, but the truth is that the base game didn't have that much like leftover budget in terms of cards and stuff, and our time, as it already was a massive undertaking to create. So we didn't really have the luxury of adding too many extra things in the base game that we would otherwise have wanted to add there. Like, for example, the longer character arcs that we are now adding, more on those in a later question, is that we just couldn't do those, as that would have taken away from the cards from the other stuff we wanted to include that we felt were more important for the open world feelings of the game. So there's not, there aren't any big things that I would have wanted to change in the base game. I'm really happy on how it aligns with the vision we had, and it's something quite different from those other story-based games available in the market. So we are really happy on how it turned out, and now we can flesh it out even more with the expansions on what people want to see, that now we have the budget to actually put there in terms of cards, in terms of having the time to write the extra stories and interactions and stuff. So that should answer that question. Then we have a question from Marsa from the chat as well. How many expansions there will be for Galzyr? How many do we have in mind right now? We have two in mind. One is obviously the Dreams and Mysteries expansion, and we are planning on doing a second one, the same size, same footprint of also 240 cards. And those are the two big expansions we have in mind for the game. As after that, we have doubled the number of cards in the game. We would have introduced 2 new adventures, and then after that the game has so that we can almost guarantee that no one's going to see all of that individually. So there's so much replay value there that there should be no problem whatsoever on being able to play it as much as you want. So maybe we will do some smaller, tiny ones afterwards. We don't know, but right now we would be really happy with where the game would be after 2 large expansions in the size of this one. And the next question here. Trying to keep an order so I can add timestamps for this later as well. Can I explain how there's more character progression? This was from a backer from the GameFund page. They asked about this. Yes, so this is one of the things that people really wanted for the expansion, to have some more character progression, longer stories and stuff. So, but we were kind of struggling on how can we achieve this while staying true to what we have, what our vision is for Lands of Galzyr. I'll turn the music just a little bit up so there's at least some. Let me know if it's too loud. So people really wanted character progression, but we weren't comfortable to give you actual power to make your character more powerful, as that would ruin the multiple things in the game, the balance of the story scenes, as there's no set order in which you can play the stories, and we thought that permanently forcing you to retire a character after it gets too strong, for example, was not something we were comfortable doing. We much prefer to give you the opportunity to do so yourself if you want, but we didn't want to force you into that decision, and the game could get really stale and boring if you were so strong and omnipotent that you would be able to just get best success in any skill check in any point of time. So the way we are doing this is that you will be able to unlock new 000 special ability cards. Let me see where I have them. So everyone has the one special ability card to start with, like this is Noko's and Umi's one that they start, and then as you play through your story, you will be able to unlock new ones. So here's two for Keridai, and as she progresses through her storyline, she will be able to unlock both of these one by one, and then at any point during each following setup, you will choose one of these to play for each game. So in that way you can still only use a single one during a single game, but you will have more opportunities or options to choose which one you want, and you can kind of further customize which kind of character you want to play in any given game. So in that way we give you things you can unlock while still not giving you real power, because that's against how the game operates on like base level. There's also some other unlocking stuff that you will be able to do later in the stories, longer character stories, but I don't want to spoil those. I want to leave those as a surprise for everyone. Hope that answers the question. The next one. Here is the next question. Relating to the adventure stories, if are the extended adventure stories a good place to end? So in terms of like stop playing that particular character, and the short answer is yes, and the longer one is that we want this is one of the ways where we want to give you a good opportunity to have a situation where you are very content with the given adventure, like you have played all the way through Noko's and Umi's own last long character arc, for example, that after that you can retire the character. You don't need to reset it, but you can just leave it in their save slot and maybe start a new journey with a new adventure. And all adventures have this long character arc, and you can hopefully be very satisfied where you are with that adventure after playing through the whole thing. It will take roughly, based on a little bit of like how much you are pushing towards completing it, is a little bit of luck as well. Maybe roughly 12 games to finish from start to finish, from the very first game with the given adventure to the last one. And this this is the base game has 3 card stories for each adventure, and this will continue after that. So it's a continuation of sorts of what happened in the very first part of that given adventure. So if you have played with the characters already and played through those 3, the integration rules in the expansion will help you go through, and there's a specific step in the integration rules that will ask if you have completed Mumir's story. If you have, to put this new event in the event deck, it goes through that for each adventure. So if you have not played the base game, they will automatically be the story will automatically continue if you have the expansion enabled in the storybook, and if you get it later, you will go through this and it will make sure that the storylines will continue if you have finished them already. And the next one, some of these are also from basically the people have asked a lot about the base game, so I'm trying to cover as much ground here as possible. So even if you have not played the original, I will try to answer questions relating to that as well. And if you have played it, some of these might be a little bit repetitive, but hopefully let's try to breeze this through a bit faster that are already in the base game. So is the use of digital device mandatory? And the simple answer is yes. You need a device with an online browser. You don't need to be online after downloading. You can download for offline use on your device, but you do need a device. It can be a laptop, a tablet, or a mobile phone, basically. And we did this for various reasons. It's the storybook would first of all be huge, like it would be like a brick, like bigger than the game essentially. We would not be able to update it. Jumping from story point to story point would be more clunky. There would be no soundtrack playing at the same time, and other enhanced features that we were able to do because it's digital. We still wanted to stay true to the nature of it being a storybook instead of an app. So we don't call it an app as it does not have like smart features. It's a storybook that shows you the relevant story bit as you go through. And while it could be printed out, it would be so huge that it would be really, really unfeasible to even use it properly, or would have to be divided into multiple books. So that's some of the reasons. You can see more of those in the campaign page. And as just a reminder, if you have any questions that I have not gone through here, or you're not sure if I'm going to answer, just write them in the chat and I will get to those. Next one relating to storybook, how does this it work with the expansion? And that's pretty straightforward. After we have after the expansion is released, or at the time of release, there will be an update to the storybook where it will basically, we will add this where you can just tell the storybook that you own Dreams and Mysteries expansion, and that's everything you need to do. Just click that once and you're done. If you use the same device, it will remember this. If you use a different one, you just click one extra time to enable the expansion. You can't quite see because of the header. Let's take that away. So there's also, if you don't enable it here for some reason, and then let's say you are trying to access an expansion story, it will tell you, let's take that away, it will tell you that that's part of the expansion, and you will be able to then click here, go to the settings, and you can click that you own it, and then you can try again, and then it will properly open. Except this is an example story we have not written out yet for the expansion, but it it already recognized that that's an expansion story. I think this one is one. Yeah, this is for example written, but it's not in the base game. And similarly, you can go and disable it if you, for some reason, misclick or something. But yeah, that's basically it. And now you can't scroll past the certain limit of the base game stories. You can't click those by accident. So that's how the storybook will work with the expansion. And the next question we have here. A lot of questions about what if your base game is in English, is not in English if you have a French or Spanish copy, and then if you want to get the expansion. Unfortunately, right now, the original publisher who localized the base game, Two Tomatoes, into Spanish and French, it's not feasible for them at the time of this recording to localize the expansion. So unfortunately, the expansion is currently going to be only in English. And basically, if you have a non-English based game and get the expansion, you can still play, but the tags and the verbs and stuff in the cards won't match between the versions, because the storybook will be in just a single language, and you won't be able to enable the expansion if you open the Spanish or French expansion, the storybook. You will only be able to access the base game stories. So if you want, you can play with mixed versions. It's a bit annoying and a hassle, but if you want to also get an English base game, send me an email to sami@snowdaledesign.fi, and I will give you, I can give you, we can get you a discount for the base game if you want to basically change the version, your version's language. So that's the unfortunate situation we are in, but there's not much else I can do about that. And then some other basic questions, like, will the expansion be available in retail? Yes, with the big asterisk. So being a small publisher, our distribution is still very limited. So if you have a retailer and they have carry our previous games, it's quite likely that they will also carry the expansion. But if you have a store that has not carried our games in the past, it's quite likely that they are not going to carry our games. So that's the short answer to that. And now, for some reason, my chat chose to update itself, so there's quite a few messages that I didn't see before. Yeah, the title has been corrected. There's a question. Welcome to the stream, X Digital, Nutcase, and Yikama. I will make a note of the questions and we'll get back to those. I just need to shorten some of the questions because my format here supports only this type. So if the question is longer, I need to reformat it to be a little bit shorter. Yeah, Nutcase's question will be answered in a moment. It's basically this, I have that written already. Well, relay is not that's not a question really, but asking to see Noko and Umi. The character board, I can show it bigger in a moment when I go through the different accessories soonish, and just their meeple again. I will show that bigger with a different camera as well. Yeah, I will add Nikoma's question, and then we can go to the next one. That's really related to some of the other questions I had. If I can find them. It's related to... Where is it? Here, let's put it in that place. I will answer that very soon, so let's go to the next question. So basically, can you play immediately with the expansion? And this means immediately after you get it. It was again I had to shorten the question a little. So the context was that if you get the base game and the expansion at the same time, can you immediately play with the expansion, or do you miss some of the base game content, for example, by doing so? As many other board games, you don't want to introduce the expansion immediately, or it will get more convoluted, more complex, and you might miss some of the elegance of the original, etc., etc. But Dreams and Mysteries is really designed to be an expansion that you can immediately integrate into your base game and just forget about it. It will just make the world more variety. It will just increase more variety in the stories. It will make it less likely for you to run into the same story twice as fast, and it will lengthen the adventures in the original adventure storylines. So it's just something to do while you're doing other stuff. So it doesn't take away. It just adds another layer of stories and variety in the game. You can meet more different companions, you might find a bigger variety of different items and statuses, and there's more variety on what different overworld stories can happen basically. So there's no real downside on just throwing it in immediately and just starting to play with it. But in the same way, if you already have the base game and then get the expansion, you don't need to reset any adventures. I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself with that one. Did I have a question for this? Yes. So let's continue with this question, as it's very related to this. Do you have to reset your game to experience the new content? And the answer to that is also no. You can just throw in the expansion and continue adventuring if you have already played no matter how many games. And the integration steps in the expansion also have one specific step where you add new quests, where you can put all the new quests in the front of the quest slot, or you can shuffle them together with everything you already have. So if you want to experience only new quests for a little while, you can do that, and it will be included here. So and let's lower the music just a little, that should help. And so that's the question. This one has been answered now. And the next question comes from the chat. This one was asked by X Digital. Why does it take over a year when prototype looks halfway done? How much writing is left at the moment? Yeah, so the prototype might look very finished and nice. It's made by the same factory who will produce the final game, but a lot of these cards are empty. They might be missing artwork, but not the effect. Some are missing actually both. Like, so here's a quest cards that's actually missing basically everything. We just wanted to show you the amount of stuff that you get, even if it's not all finished. And a large part of these are also the dream events, dream scenes for the different adventures, which are the longer extended storylines themed as dreams. And these are also, the cards are here, but they do not have the finished stories or artwork in many cases, and also the actual stories are not written. I can actually tell you the pretty much our current status is, because we have an internal tool that we are using to write the different stories, and we are currently roughly 30%, a little bit over 30% through the writing, creating story structures and playtesting them. And while that sounds like a big number, like nearly 50%, because of the scale of the game, there will be roughly 200 stories in the expansion, and every story has a lot of stuff in it. The base game already has stories worth 7 novels, and the base expansion will have roughly 50% more, so like 3.5 novels worth of stories to have to be written out. So that's what's going to take the bulk of our time, to just flessen out and write all those remaining stories. And that's the simple answer why it takes so long. It won't take extremely long to finish all the cards and the text artwork, and that's when we are going to submit everything to the printers, so they can start printing the game, and then we can start the freight forwarding process from the factory to the warehouses, which all takes months. So we can use that time while the game is being produced and being shipped to finish up all the stories. So that will shorten time a little, but it will still take a long time to just write all the stories. And Will is saying that this is a good time to remind that in the latest GameFound update, you can go and success your favorite animals, or even maybe not your favorite animals, but the animals you would like to see in the expansion. So you can have your favorite animal hopefully featured in the expansion. Right now we are taking suggestions on which those could be, and the next update we will pick the most popular ones and put in a poll, and then you can vote on those. And in a later stage we also will hear your ideas on what the story should be about the animal that won the poll. Like, for example, what the red panda, if that wins, it's quite popular already in the comments. If red panda is something you would, if it wins, then you can suggest ideas on what the red panda storyline should include. We have multiple storylines from the first crowdfunding campaign in the base game already that are inspired by the polls and suggestions from our backers. Yes, a new question I'll put in the list, so don't forget to answer to it. So the next question is this one. This one was also in the chat. One more question I'll just put here before. Just so I don't miss any questions. And is there a main objective in the game, for example a boss or something that you can work towards completing throughout the game? Was asked by Yikama in the chat, and the answer is yes-ish or maybe-ish. There are few. The base game has a large long storyline that happens in the background that you can take part of if you want. The expansion will have another one similar to that, a little bit different. That's about the mystery part of the title. So the dream is about the adventures having the longer storylines, which also could be seen as the main objective for the adventures. But there's also the mystery storyline that's anyone can take part when it pops up in the game in different places. So those are with those there's two main big storylines that happen on the background, and every character has their own long arc that they can work through. So there's kind of like two big ones and 5 for the different adventures, so kind of 7 long storylines that you can work through as main objective if you want. But they're all designed and meant to be something that you like to continue working, but you usually can't do that all the time. Like you have to work towards the next part, or you have to wait a little. So there's also like breathing room as you can do other stuff in the open world and have the feeling of choose what you want to do instead of just going to next. So they're every in a way main objective, but also they sometimes vanish on the background just to reappear later on. And the next question. And welcome to stream, Corp77, waiting for Boro Magicians to send their copy of Peacemakers. I hope you like it once you get the chance to play it. Oh no, too long question. Let's shorten it. This was also from the chat. This was from Yikama. Have you considered making books or novels based on the world of Animal Folks? Yes and no. Not seriously, but we do have some twinklings or ideas for book-related Daimyria stuff, but as I'm not sure on the exact timeline of those plans, I don't want to spoil too much, just so you don't start wait actively something that will take years still to come. So that's your vague answer for that. But I would love to read some like fan fiction, for example. That would be like awesome. If someone is interested, you can definitely do that. Welcome to the stream, Frankie Boo. Nice to have you here once more. And the next one, this one I already more or less answered, but it's just a different format. Does the game / expansion include a campaign? Yes, like in the form of the stories I just described earlier. So it's not a traditional sense a campaign where you can just go on and just follow the one story all the time. but it's something that disappears, and then you can take part on it in that way. So, but yeah, that was basically the same question. The next question, but first Frankie is asking if we are going to Essen this year, and well, the answer is unfortunately no. I am not going Essen this year, but we do have plans that maybe next year it would make sense to go. Now we weren't sure if we would have peacemakers ready for that, so that would have been like a gamble, and if we didn't have that, then we would not have anything new to show in Essen. And if you don't have anything new to show off there, it's not really feasible to have a booth because it's so expensive to have a booth there. And also Dreams and Mysteries, even if we were showing that a little, a loud big convention like Essen is not really the best place to showcase such a story heavy game as Galzyr, where you need to listen to the stories and you need to really concentrate to get something out of it instead of just sit down, play some games about mechanics and stuff, because people are constantly looking at their phone, getting distracted by different stuff. So when you are trying to get a good impression of a story game, that's not the best place to do it. Yeah, if we come next year, do come and say hi, that would be great. And that is or any not just Frankie, but anyone. Next one is this was asked by someone asked, yes, welcome to stream, Gelfesil. Sometimes names are hard and nicknames are even harder. So what inspired you to start the world of Daimyria? And well, it kinda organically came to be in a sense that the first game Dale of Merchants that I designed, like first hobby game design that I did seriously, that one, oh yes, I nailed Kelfesil, nice. That it was I created Dale of Merchants, and for that I created the small sliver of the world, kind without really thinking too much about creating a world in a sense, but more like, okay, let's it made sense to theme the different decks in Dale of Merchants with animals, as that would help you remember the effects and the themes around different decks. Like, okay, this deck is about slots, and I remember that that's about the delayed effects. This deck is about chameleons, so I remember that that's about the copying effects. So that's why I chose animals for Dale of Merchants, so you can more easily remember what's the archetype of each deck. And then partly based on inspiration from my friend, we fleshen out the world like around it, and with every new game, and then of course it made sense to use the same world for Dale of Merchants 2 and so forth, but with the first game new series for Dawn of Peacemakers, it just made sense to use the same world, as it's then recognizable for those who have already played Dale of Merchants, and now it's kind of like our hallmark that the world of Animal Thoughts, if you get a game from us, you can see familiar faces in there. So Dale of Merchants was the origin point and why it was animals, and then it was that we just built on top of that with every game. And Kelfesil said, yeah, the Dale of Merchants was awesome, both thematic thing and game mechanics perspective. Here's the next question is, we can also put it there. this one. Can I explain the available accessories in more detail? I would not put the question here if the answer was no. There's a question from Coop. I will answer after this one. So here we have all the different accessories available for Lands of Galzyr, and outside of the Ausala plushie, all of these were available on the base with the base game before as well. So if you got everything last time, you already have all of these, and this is just a new one. And well, just got one by one. Quick note: everything here except for the plushie and the playmat fit inside the game box as well. So the dice tray, extra dice, cards with sleeves, and the adventure journal all fit inside the base game. So this one does not fit, but it comes with the bag that you can store the playmat inside, and obviously the plushie doesn't fit and doesn't belong inside the game box. This is the dice tray, so it has debossed Lands of Galzyr logo on both sides, and it lays flat when you open it, and it fits in the game box like this. And then you can just close the corners. I'm of course to be horrible with this on camera, so you can just close it, and then you can take some of the dice. You can get extra dice set. You don't need these. None of these have any new gameplay. So if you get just the game and the expansion, you have all the gameplay. Not all of this is just extra fluff you can get if you want. But this is the dice tray, and it's also handy where if you have the dice, you can just hand over this to the next player with all the dice, or you can have multiple sets of dice and then you can share them between all the players. But yeah, that's the dice tray add-on and the extra dice set add-on basically. The sleeves are matte sleeves and very tight fit. So I have an example here. Let's take two cards. Neither of these are sleeves right now, and the sleeve is very tight, so the card doesn't wiggle inside the sleeve, which I find very annoying. And you can see it's not terribly. I can make it shine quite a lot, but it's not too much more shiny than the card without the sleeve. So that those were important decisions for us, that we didn't want the sleeve to be the shiny version. So it's matte sleeve and also very tight tolerances. And as said earlier, all the cards fit with sleeves inside the base game. And if you get the expansion sleeves, you will get one of these with 250 sleeves. The expansion has 240 cards, so you have 10 extras. And if you get the base game, you get 2, and if you get base game and expansion, you get 3 packs. Then you have 30 extra sleeves. And this is the adventure journal with some nice little illustration there. But this is basically where you can keep track of individual stories like memories or experiences you had with the game. So this is again, you don't need this for any saving, you don't need this for any mechanics in the game. It's just that you can keep track of later. You can go back and see, oh, what happened in this game as a memory that you have, not for saving purposes, just to relive the stories if you want. And it has place spots for 102 games, so that's probably enough for almost everyone. And you can fit this inside the game box. Yeah. It's made from fox leather, so not real leather. And let's move this aside. Let's check the playmat and back. So it has this canvas back that you can store the back inside. There's also a carabiner hook, so you can use this to hang it somewhere if you take it with you to the game night, for example. And just like the actual game board, it's double-sided. So one side is the summer side, and the other side is the winter side. And it has also stitched edging, and it's also printed, so it doesn't look that much as a stitch edging, but it does make it really durable. So here's the summer side, and as a comparison, it's basically the game comes with the game board, and this is again totally optional. And here's a comparison where it's basically the same size, just so it's not a bigger one as some other playmats tend to be, simply because, well, it would take more space, and you really don't need it to take more space in this case, because there's also these spots for cards that you lay on top to fill in the different locations, and the artwork also continues. Let's take here's an example for Arhin. So as you can see, you put this card on top of the slot, and it needs to be the same size so the artwork works and continues as these add visitable locations where you can go. And these are also double-sided, so if you have the other side of the game board based on the seasons, it also fits there. So that's the playmat add-on. And finally, we have the only new add-on for this time is the Arsala plushie. So we are seeing how much people like this, and then we can make an instead of doing all the adventures, we wanted to start with just one, and then we can see if people like them, and then we can consider making the other adventures if people like these. So this is how Arsala turned out, and I'm really really happy how she looks with all the tiny little details. So some of the colors are printed different colors, and then this stitching. So for example, these are stitched on details similar to here. These are also stitched on, and this hood is also stitched inside here, so it's not going to rip away if you want your child to play with it, for example. It should be pretty safe, and it has weighted pellets in at the bottom of her, so she's very stable because she's bottom heavy, so she can sit on an edge of a table, for example, very easily and not get knocked over too easily. And as for the size, she's 14 centimeters tall, roughly, from her butt to the top of her head, which translates to 5.5 inches. So that's her size. And yes, I promised I can with this camera is better to show closer. This is the new adventure board for Noko and Umi, and their meeple, wooden meeple with double-sided printing on it. A very happy duo with the gold spinner that you can use to show how much gold your adventure has. And we have some other questions. Yeah, I promised to answer Coop77's answer question. Tale of Merchants is their top 10 board game ever. That's very nice to hear. Any news about the new expansion for Dale? I'm not going to label this as this is Lands of Galzyr Dreams and Mysteries question and answer, so I'll just quickly go through that. Tale of Merchants has 10-year anniversary next year, and we plan for reprints on that for next year, as well as a new game in the series after a long break. And that's the short gist of that. Will says that we need to make Lands of Galzyr pencil the journal. I think any pencil will do that. And yes, next question. Still have a few to go. Are there any exclusives in the campaign? And the very simple answer is no. We try to be inclusive with our games and accessories and releases, and therefore we don't do exclusives, and also don't do quite often we don't do stretch goals. We like to plan ahead of time what we put in the game, and then we don't artificially cut them off either. So no exclusives. That's you. We try to offer the best price during the crowdfunding campaigns. So if you do want something and you want to help support the creation of it with the first print run, we know it's a lot to ask to wait 1 year for a product. So we try to give the best price at least. And of course you can be part of the creation of the game. So like the community quest that we are running right now, you can add a little something or take part in creating the game. I already answered those. I already answered that one as well. Next. And Coop says that they hate exclusive stuff, and thank for not going that route. Yes, that well, we are gamers and backers of other projects and stuff as well, and it's just not something I like to see in a campaign, and it is a little bit of a push away for me when I see a campaign that has a lot of exclusive stuff. Like even if I could back it right now and get those, I just don't like the principle, so we try not to do it ourselves. Some people have asked where's the second new adventure, the sabre-toothed cat, as here in the base game rulebook, it has here the adventures, and it lists Yame and Noko and Umi in an expansion. So Yame, we were planning on releasing 2 adventures in the same expansion, but a single adventure takes a large pile of cards to actually include. You need a lot of cards to support them. For example, all the base game statuses, we need to include an extra one, so you always have enough for 5 players or 6 players with 2 adventures. And so we basically would have to allocate too big of a chunk of the cards just for the adventures if we were to include 2 in this one. And if we want, we wanted to make 2 adventures, we wanted to have a lot of extra stories, and basically it was the option of let's make one huge expansion that takes longer to create, longer to release, longer for you to be able to play, or let's split it in half, which is still a huge one, and then you get it faster. And well, it made just sense to put 1 adventure in both. But just a quick thesis that here's the Yame the creator's saber-toothed cat, and she will come in a later expansion, and I also have her meeple. So sorry for the tease, but even though I have a prototype of her, none of her stories are done, so there's it's just eye candy, but she's not ready, basically. Yeah, so she's going to be in the next expansion we do. A question about what products are available in the Pledge Manager, and basically the same that are available right now in the campaign. We might add some developments and stuff that we have enough stock, which is not a lot. Probably just, for example, the update pack if someone really wants that, or playmats, as we have some of those, but we are running quite low on stock on Dale of Merchant stuff, as we are not reprinting until we have stopped reprinting, as we want to do some updates for 10-year anniversary. So basically pretty much the stuff that's available right now in the Pledge Manager. And yes, you get access to the Pledge Manager even if you pledge for €1 during the campaign. And the next question, don't have too many left unless you have new ones coming from the chat, but I think I have answered everything from there for now. Can players change between sessions? Can different players jump in and out between different games? And the answer is yes. That's one of the big things that was part of the design for the base game, is that it should be as easy to get on the table as possible while being a story-rich open world adventure game, and those two often don't go hand in hand, and that was one of the design goals, to be able to change players between sessions and have fast setup and tear down. And you basically have each player, usually we recommend that each player plays a single adventure, and then you have your own save slot. So if you play Bumir, all your in-progress stories and stuff go behind your save slot, your divider. Then the next player, every player has their own save slot in the box. And the same goes for the world, which is this globe icon. That's like the global save slot. So the world has their own save slot where you put all the events, the quests and location cards, etc. So your save slot will wait for your next game. And with 5 adventures, we don't necessarily, at least for most, recommend playing with 5 simultaneous players, but you can have 5 different people can have their own save slots without interfering with other players' save slots. I know there are some people who are going to play with 5, and you can definitely do that, but it just increases the downtime between turns. Let's try to. The chat is not letting me copy. I just need to manually write Bartek's question. Will there be a late pledge option? Yes, the answer is yes, and prices will probably be the same. We have not decided yet. They're the same or slightly increased, just to reward those who backed during the crowdfunding campaign. But yes, there will be late pledge after the campaign has ended, and at some point when the games are on freight ships and stuff, we will close the late pledge on GameFound and open pre-orders on our own website. So basically at any point people should be able to get all the stuff or pre-order the stuff. As said, we don't like exclusives, and that also includes excluding people from being able to pre-order in some way or another. And next one that one. Well, I answered this quickly, but let's just put it here so I can have a timestamp in the in the description. Do the cards fit in the box sleeved? Yes, the cards fit in the box sleeved with our own sleeves, and they should fit with other sleeved manufacturers as well. Just something to notice that there's not a huge amount of play from left to right here. So if you have too wide or too long sleeves, as you can see, these are tight fit in both directions, both here and also top and bottom. So if you have long sleeves that get excessive long over here, then it might be tough to be able to fit them in here. As you can see with the sleeves, there's even less play. So that's the biggest factor, is if you have too long sleeves, they don't fit with because of that. That's a simple matter of having a pretty standard sized box with 30 cent, kind of like the Ticket to Ride, but a little bit taller. And we wanted to have 2 slots of cards, and then also space for the adventure boards, which also have very little play. So there were no option to have extra space in this direction for the cards. But as you can see, right now I have the base game inside here, and the expansion will come a little bit more than this, but all of these fit sleeved in these two trays without any problems. And the second expansion with the same amount of cards also fits with sleeves, but then both of these will be like totally totally full. So we have calculated that this will support double the amount of cards from the base game, as this will come 50% more, and the second expansion will bring 50% more cards. This was also from the original campaign questions, is how much player interaction there is. And the simple answer is not too much. You are mostly concentrating on your own journey. You can partner up and help with other players, and with that the expansion will introduce, and also we are probably going to put it in new printings, but these cooperative movement rules, you can find these from Board Game Geek and also from our Discord, but might be easier from Board Game Geek. These you can use this to move together at the same time instead of moving on your own turn. So that will make cooperating in co-op mode a lot easier, and it can increase the player interaction basically. But there's not too much player interaction. It's mostly your story. You can join my story if you want at some point, and it's your story. I can sometimes join you as well. But the players who most enjoy the game with multiple players enjoy just hearing and listening to other players' stories. Not because you're part of it, but because the stories are fun and stuff. But if you want the heavy interaction between players, then you might want to play this either solo, or just maximum 2 players, or just play a different game. And then one of the final questions: are there any rules differences for solo play? The answer is no. The game is the same solo, cooperative and competitive, no matter the player count. The only difference is based if you play competitive or cooperative, is the final scene is different if you count together in cooperative mode your prestige and see how much you got, or you compare them between players and then you read a different story. So that's the only difference between those. And with solo, you always play the cooperative mode, so you just see then how well you did based on the prestige. So there's no different solo mode, so to speak. You can just play the regular game solo. And this is also an older question about can you play the game or the expansion with children? And yes, but I encourage you to make the decision on your own. The game, I've heard many people play it with their children, especially if you do all the reading of the stories. So it depends on what you are comfortable reading and showing to your children. But there's some, while we don't show violence on cards or gore or blood and stuff, the stories do include some heavier things in them, but you can kind of like filter some of those out while you're reading the story if you want, but they are there, and the game does include like some nasty war things and stuff, so depending on what you feel comfortable with your children, that's the limiting part. The mechanisms are pretty simple if you handle the storybook, and if you ask your children, you can guide them through the skill checks, rolling the dice and using the items and stuff. They can still do the rolling, but you can help, like, did you remember to use that item and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of discussions about this also if you try to search for it. And the last question that I had for now, so now it's a final chance to ask something in chat. If you later get any questions, you can of course add. You can ask here in the comments if you're watching this, and I will answer in the comments as when I get the chance. You can ask in the GameFound comments or email us or however you see fit. But this is the last question we had. Will we use or do we use generative AI in the project? And the simple answer is no. We do not use this for stories. We don't use this for art. We don't like it, and that's it. We prefer to do things traditionally, even though we have a digital storybook and we use computers to draw our illustrations and stuff, but we don't like the emergence of generative AI replacing people's creativity, and we don't support that in our games. And Bartek is managing to put one more question there. That's too long. I need to shorten it. That should fit my question bar. Any new questions? Not the question. Any new games you have in mind for the future outside of current series, Tale of Merchants, Lands of Galzyr, and Peacemakers? And it would be hard not to have new games in mind for the future. It's more a question of trying to find the time to do those, as it's not as simple as just even doing the design start to finish, but also the artwork, the development, the playtesting, and then actual release and marketing and stuff takes a huge amount of time. Like, we can release roughly one game a year, and sometimes not even that. That's like our maximum capacity at the moment, is one game per year. So I have ideas, I have some prototypes, plenty of prototypes that I have tried and played, and some are more finished states than others. Some I like more than others, some show more potential than others. But yeah, I have new games and in mind outside of current lineups. And for example, they're also in different time eras, so maybe while they would still be in Daimyria, they could be far in one direction or another in the timeline. So even they could still take quite a different shape, but you could still have the quirky animal folk themes and stuff in those games. This has been already well, a little bit over 1 hour. So X-Digital saying Daimyria 40k grim dark future. So I have gone through all the questions I had on my list, and also everything you have asked during the stream as well. But yeah, as said, if you have questions later, you can post in YouTube, GameFound, our Discord server, wherever you find we try to find them on Board Game Geek and stuff. So I want to thank everyone for joining, and hope you have a great rest of the day, rest of the week. We have been really happy with the success of the expansion, and the campaign is doing very well. We are excited to finish it and get you to experience the deeper, richer Galzyr that we are trying to do for all of you. Thank you for joining, everyone, and have a nice one. See you next time in the next stream. Next week's I should have looked at this ahead of time, but that's we have this stream schedule in on the GameFound page, and I will soon try to schedule next week's streams already. And it seems like GameFound is all kinds of broken, because I think the Puerto Rico campaign started, but I have a list there too. So next week, Wednesday, I will have a gameplay stream with Anton from Anton VS, and next Saturday I will draw a card. It could be item, companion, I have not chosen yet what it will be, but I will have an art stream on Saturday. So those are for the next week. Yes, so without further ado, thank you for everyone for joining the stream, and have a nice one. Thank you.